Hi, everyone. Welcome to this I've been really looking forward to this Facebook Live today. We've got a very, very special guest from all the way over in Australia, in Melbourne, aren't you? I'd like to welcome Tamir Berkman. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. Thank you, Bridget. Great to be here.
Great to have you here. And we're going to be talking specifically about divorce coaching for men. And you call yourself a separation guide, obviously guiding men through separation. And it's been for you, it's a lived experience, isn't it? And you went through a 3-year self-development journey comprising men's circles, equine therapy, mentors and coaches. And really, it's your personal training approach that helps men overcome separation sooner and move forward quickly.
Correct. So it's live experience, and I'm also studying counseling. So I'm going to be qualified early 2023.
Brilliant. And you're
Yeah.
also a dad, and you're a horseman.
Yes.
And saying about you living in fabulous Melbourne.
Correct.
So tell us more about your experience and why you call yourself a divorce cowboy.
Cool. So my experience is I got separated 3 years ago, and I was totally lost. There wasn't any guidance, any tools, any roadmap for me to follow. So I didn't really know what to do. I was in a place of denial, shame. I had fear, and I was lucky enough to have a mentor, just an older man in the community that went through separation and showed me some doors. And he said, "Oh, okay, you can open this door. You can come with me to a men's circle. You can start journaling. You can read a book." And I opened all these doors because I figured that obviously my life didn't turn out the way I thought it would be. So I need to do something else. I need to learn something, or I need to change. Something needs to happen. And very soon after starting this journey, I was made aware of my emotions, thoughts, and actions. And then I had some tools and techniques to work it out. So about a year and a half after getting separated, I found that I'm so passionate about talking with men about this and holding space for men, being of service. And I went, okay, how can I take it to the next level? I'm going to start studying counseling. I'm going to start studying equine assisted learning, and I'm going to combine it, and I'm going to create some sort of a roadmap for men going through separation.
Yeah, it's vitally important. We have a male divorce coach in our business, Blair Strang, whose background is a family law barrister. But the issue is that divorce numbers in the US are now approaching to 67%, which is that's horrifying statistics. That is nearly 70% of relationships that are breaking up. And I believe that, and what I see in my practice is, because we work with women and men, is more men are now coming forward and accepting and realizing that they need support just as much, even more so than women sometimes.
Yeah, separation is an emotional challenge.
Yeah.
And men like me don't have emotional tools and techniques to deal with an emotional challenge. We were taught out of these tools, right? So from a young age, we've been hearing don't cry, don't show emotions, vulnerability is negative, is weakness, stuff like that, right? So actually, when it comes to an emotional challenge, I didn't have the tools and techniques to access that part, which
Yeah.
means just separating badly, like most of us do.
Absolutely. And I think that women tend to share a lot with their friends and their girlfriends, and men just find it very difficult to even share where they're at and how they're feeling, even with one person. So it's really brilliant that now it's been brought to the fore, and the likes of yourself are offering that to men, on a national international basis. So How and why, from your perspective, do you think that men go through divorce differently to women, other than the emotional side of it?
So I think that's the key. I think it is the emotional side because men grew up not accessing that.
Mm,
Society actually tells us not to do it, right? So we fear the judgment. Men really are allowed to feel two feelings. One is anger, one is joy. Other than that, all the other feelings, shame, guilt, fear, sadness, are unacceptable for a man to show or to talk about, right? And we're feeling judged. Of course, we'll have uh, problems and challenges to share that. We don't even know how to access that. We've our whole life we've been told, don't do it. This is wrong. This is not for you. This is not for men. We need to be powerful. We need to be in control. So when we come to separation, it's a place that we are powerless. We are out of control. For the first time in my life, all the tools that I had from business to whatever it is didn't work.
yeah.
So of course it's going to be different.
So do you think that? What are your thoughts? Do you think that in what you do with men, do you see them skipping the grievance process, or what are your thoughts on that?
I didn't even know grief is a part of this
Mm,
because again, there is no roadmap.
mm,
How would I know if I'm grieving? What does it look like? How should I grieve? We have grieving processes for, when someone dies, but not when a relationship dies. So what a lot of men will be getting from their friends is, when are you moving on? When are you starting dating? What about the house? It won't be There won't be any questions about, oh, how do you grieve? Or did you give yourself time to grieve?
And there's
So
also, absolutely, and there's also, you go through a different grievance process at a different time if you're the initiator of the separation. That's quite different for the initiator compared to the person who is happy to stay in that relationship. And then once again, it's if people are mutual in terms of the separation, they tend to be more aligned in terms of where they are in that grievance process. So it's interesting stuff, and it really takes people out of their comfort zone. It really does.
correct. So we know that 70% of separations are initiated by women.
Mm,
So men are further ahead in the grieving process, right? And that creates an emotional imbalance.
absolutely. And you cannot negotiate with someone who's angry. It's very difficult.
Correct. Or with someone who acts from anger. Being angry is okay. Of course I'm angry.
Mm, mm. We're
There's
human. It's okay to not be okay. I mean, that's what we end up, we say to our clients a lot, how can you not? How can you be okay with this? When
absolutely.
you've got an
Just
emotional
realizing.
attachment and it's been for a number of years and you've got potentially children together. This is part of the process that you have to go through. You can't jump over it. You can't skip it.
That's
So
right.
tell us more about your separation survival guide.
Cool. So the Separation Survival Guide is a free download that I have on my website that is really the 7 key tools and techniques to overcome separation. So these are the 7 things that really helped me um, really overcome and survive and thrive after separation. It's kind of like a little bit of an appetizer to my full program.
Yeah, yeah. And what, from your perspective, do you think is the technique, one of your tips that you believe is really imperative for all men to understand and utilize in their separation moving forward?
I think the first technique is something called check-in. So something that is a technique to identify emotions and how
Yeah.
to sit with an emotion and how to challenge an emotion.
Mm.
So first of all, when 4 years ago or 3 years ago, before separation, if you asked me, how do you feel? It was either fine or okay. I didn't even know how to identify emotions like, oh, I'm sad, or I'm happy, or I'm 70% happy, but 30% sad. So
Yeah.
the first thing is to identify emotions and have a range of emotions that I can pick from. Am I frustrated? Am I nervous? What is it? Where is it in my body? Does it have a color? Does it have a shape? And then I can take it out of me.
Mm.
Right? Then I can say, I'm not angry. I've got anger in me. So let me take it out and let me challenge that anger and say, okay, so why are you here? What is that anger about, really? And spend the time with it.
Mm. You have to
And
be you have to be able to sit with being in the uncomfortable, don't you? You know.
yeah, and that's what awareness is, right? Awareness to my emotions. That's the first bit. Being aware, challenging, sitting with, and then how can I communicate it better? If I am angry, how do I communicate this to someone else? How do I communicate it to my co-parent, to my ex, to my
Assertively rather than being passive or aggressive or passive aggressive. Huh.
so that's what happens when I can't identify my emotions and I can't communicate them. I'm bottling it up.
Mm.
And then it will come up in one of two ways, either aggression or a physical disease.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. So make sure you get your separation survival guide, everybody. Now, you and I often see clients that move out of the home and don't see their children as often as they used to. And that happens a lot in terms of men. You know, they are fearful, obviously, about separation and the fact that they will see less of their children. That's a common fear among men that I see, and I'm sure you see that in your business and your practice as well. What's your advice to fathers, dads, to cope with the situation moving forward?
Yeah. So first of all, don't cope by yourselves. There is support out there. There are men's groups, there are men's circles. They're amazing. If you find a psychologist, a counselor, a divorce coach, whoever it is that you can talk to on a more professional level to help you guide you through this, do it. Sit with the fear, understand the fear. What is the fear about? And then create some sort of a roadmap or some sort of a practice to go, okay, so what do I want? Do I want to see more of my children? Do I want a 50-50? If that's what you want, then okay. Now, what are the steps to actually make that happen?
Mm.
Let's come up with a plan.
Yeah. Do I need to talk to my boss about, getting off early 2 days a week so I can pick up children from childcare or whatever that is? Yeah.
Correct. If that's what you want,
Mm.
then you can have all kinds of ideas and opportunities. How do I make it happen?
Yeah.
Right. Part of it is, yes, talking to my boss around picking up the kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That's great advice. So, what are the top 3 mistakes that men make during divorce that you've seen?
So I think the first one is bottling it up, not asking for support, which is we think it's a very masculine thing to do, right? We believe, oh, it's like I need to go through this by myself. I'm not going to ask for any advice or any help. It's a matter of survival, really. So if I'm stuck in a jungle and I don't have any survival skills or the tools, I'm going to try and ask for help if I can. I'm going to ask to get rescued. And that's okay. That's a very masculine thing to do to survive. So the first thing is, don't go through this by yourselves. Ask for support. Get, as I said, support from men's circles, from professionals. It's out there. And that can be a huge impact on your life. Like a few years from now, that can make your life so much better just by getting that support. The second one is there are 3 pain points of separation, and one of them is the blaming, is becoming a victim, especially for men that were the dumpy like me, right? My ex told me, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. So it's very easy for me to put myself in a victim position and to start blaming and to be very justified in my blame because she was the one that broke it up. She was the one that didn't want to work on it, right? It's so easy to drop into that position. It's not helping. It's not
No,
helping me forward.
no. And what that does is people end up getting stuck in their story, and they're not able to move to the business of divorce.
Correct. And it's preventing me from achieving what I want because a victim is not someone who's responsible for their own lives. Therefore, they can't go and move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other mistakes that you see?
So I think the most important one is maybe the emotional side, not not learning or not saying, hey, I need to learn something else. I need to change. Not realizing that there is a way out, but it requires some work. It requires some change. It requires some learning of new tools and techniques, doing something that you haven't done before.
That's right, because if you continue doing the same thing, you get the same result.
That's right.
Yeah. So, what's your final advice for men going through divorce and separation?
I think, look, at the end of the day, it's a very painful situation. It's extremely challenging. It was the most challenging thing that I ever had to go through in my life. But there is a point that I can choose. I didn't choose the separation, but I can choose how I respond to it, and I can choose what to do next. So the advice will be, and that's the only advice I'm giving, is to realize that you have a choice. You can choose if you want to use this pain to wallow and blame, or use this pain to grow. And it's your choice.
Yeah.
You can make this choice every single day.
A divorce, it even sounds negative, but even the word does. But however, it gives you the opportunity to grow as a person, find your identity again, find your purpose. Because when you're in a relationship that's not serving you well, you're not the person you want to be. You're really not. So new beginnings can be really positive, but you've got to do the work to be able to get there and realize it is a tornado, it is a tsunami, it is a roller coaster ride along the way. And sometimes it's going to be, your emotions are going to be different from minute to minute, hour to hour, aren't they? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And separation can be a good thing.
Yeah,
It's
you
how
become
we do it.
better parents. The
Better-
kids become self-sufficient. They have empathy for other children who have been through it, or other, others who are going through it. It can actually have its benefits.
Yeah, yeah. It's all about how we do it.
Yeah, and it's either divorcing well or it's going down the other path. And spending so much money and time going through the court process and being litigious, which you and I know is just not an option for people. It increases the emotional toll, the cost, the time it takes. It's huge. It's massive.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So if you can avoid court, by all means, do it. And I think there's also a point of saying that because of the emotional roller coaster, people are in fight or flight mode. And in fight or flight mode, it's you focus on survival, right? I focus on just survival. I'm not focusing on the big plan or the longer term. And guess what? I will need to live with my co-parent for a long time and raising our daughter. So if I'm going to think about what's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years time, I want that to be amicable.
Oh, it's having no regrets, isn't it? You want to be able to look back and go, gosh, I couldn't have been my best self any more than what I already was, what I've done. So, yeah, you don't want to have regrets. You really don't. Life is too short. The old saying is it's not a dress rehearsal, is it? We're here and we're now, and you've got to be happy, and you have got to really if children are involved, they've got to be a priority. They've got to be a priority for ensuring that their life moving forward is positive.
Yeah, and it's okay to do something different. It's okay to say, hey, what I've done so far didn't really work out.
Yeah.
I'm going to try something else.
We're all human. We've all made mistakes. We've made bad decisions, I certainly did going through my separation, and I think we all have, and we have to give ourselves, we don't beat ourselves up about it, because we learn from it. And as long as we learn from it and then action what we've learned, it's all good. It's all great. Well, thank you very much, Tamir, for joining me on this Facebook Live. We will do another one in a month or so. So if anyone's got any burning questions that they want answered, we would love to answer them for you. And so Tamir and I are now going to pop over and do a podcast that'll be uploaded in the next few days onto our podcast series, Equal X's. And so thank you, Tamir, for joining me on Facebook Live. And everybody, thanks for joining us. And we look forward to coming back to chat to you again on this channel. Bye now.
Thank you, Bridget. Pleasure.